or the movie stars. Okay, boys and girls, welcome to Tuesday's math class. I want to make sure that everyone has a writing utensil, your student workbook, open to page 12. I hope you have a good learning environment ready. So somewhere quiet, somewhere with a table that you can write on, TV's off, lunch and snacks all put away, and ready to do some practice today. I'm going to read off the list. If you are here and I forgot you, please unmute yourself and say your name. Today I have Soren Peyton, Tyler, Olivia, Sophia, Noah, Ilea, Tegan, Seth, Isla, Hunter Cooper, Chase, Sarah Reese, Trace, Bella, Nolan, Caliana, Nina, Sunny, Elijah, Jack.
Did you get Callie?
Your camera's not on. Okay, what's the problem? Caliano, can you find a space where you can focus on your work and not playing? Try to find maybe a table, or if you can move to the floor so you have somewhere to write. Okay, so I had you turn to page 12 and see if you can try letter B on your own. So now I'm going to open up my document camera so you can see my book, and we're going to check this one together and see how close you were. Chase, can you go ahead and read the directions, please?
Decompose each fraction model by a tape diagram as a sum of unit fractions. Write the equivalent multiplication sentence. The first one has been done for you.
Okay, so we're going to do a little review with some of these words. Sarah, what does it mean to decompose a fraction?
To take apart.
Very good. So we take a fraction and we break it apart into smaller pieces. There's multiple ways to decompose. There's not just one. However, in this example, actually in this problem, we have to use unit fractions. Trace, what is a unit fraction?
When the number 1 is on top.
Very good. Trace, do you remember what that part of the fraction is on top? What that's
The
called?
numerator.
Very good. So here I put just as a reminder, the 1 on top and then a D for denominator. So we need to write an equation using addition and unit fractions. That's our first job. Then we have to write an equivalent equation, which means it's equal to something with multiplication. And the first one has been done for you. So something that you guys know that I really like to do. What's missing in letter A? Tyler, please turn your camera on. Something that I like to do for every problem. What did they not do in letter A? Elijah?
They didn't label the bar.
The tape diagram, very good. So I always want to pay attention to the whole. This whole thing is my whole. So that means I count each of these. 1, 2, 3, and that tells me my denominator. Each of these represents one piece, so each of these is 1/3. However, for my equations, I'm only focused on the shaded area. So Elijah, if I put 1/3 and 1/3 together, count those for me.
1/3, 2/3.
So that's why I have 2/3 equals, using my unit fractions, I added 1/3 and 1/3. Now I need to show it using multiplication. So I have 2 1/3, that's why there's a whole number 2 there. And I'm multiplying it by 1/3 because that's what the value of 1 is. Now, yesterday, I kind of told you a little bit about when you're adding fractions, some people, and this will be on the PSSA, Hunter, I promise. Hunter, what do you notice about adding fractions? What do you do to the denominators?
You keep them all the same.
Right. You can only add fractions if you have the same denominator. So we have a 3 and a 3 here, so a 3 stays the same. Hunter, what do you do with the numerators?
The ones you add up, make sure they add up to whatever the numerator equals.
Well, you simply just add them because
Yeah.
sometimes this isn't going to be here. So the answer would be 1 + 1 = 2, and the denominator stays the same. I guarantee you, I would bet all the coffee in the world that on the PSSA, an option will be this, because they're going to try to trick you and thinking, oh, these fourth graders in nicely, they are going to see this and they're going to add 3 + 3 and give you 6. This, my friends, is wrong. 2/6 is not the same as 2/3. Now, my personal opinion is that I really like multiplying fractions because there's really are no tricks or nothing to remember. Tegan, the whole number 2, any whole number in the whole world has what as a denominator?
I'm not sure.
Okay, anyone remember? We talked about this yesterday. Nolan?
1.
A 1. So I like to put my 1 there because I don't want to make a mistake and do 2 × 1 = 2 and then 2 × 3 = 6, because that's not correct multiplication. 2 × 1 = 2 and 1 × 3 = 3, and that's how we get our 2/3. So now let's try our own. Sophia, how did you label the parts of the tape diagram for letter B?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. My dogs were just barking very loudly. What'd
How
you
did
say?
you label the pieces of the whole for letter B?
Oh, they're all 1/4
How did you get 1/4?
because there is 4 4 in like total all there's 4 boxes and each of them represents 1.
Very good. So we look at our whole. Sunny, can you think of a way that I can show my shaded amount by using addition and unit fractions?
You would do 30, not 31. I meant 3/4.
Hold on. Okay. So I have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So you started with our answer, which you can do, or you can do that at the end, either way.
Equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4.
Very good. So it's a unit fraction because the one's on the top, and then we add them together. So if you do have your calculator with you, you can mem clear it, and I'm going to put this in here just to check Sunny's work. 1 numerator, 4 denominator, plus 1 numerator, 4 denominator, plus 1 numerator, 4 denominator equals 3/4, 3/4. I should be super confident in my work. Chase, how can I use this same model and instead of using addition, use multiplication?
I did 3/4 equals 3 1s times 1/4.
Where did you get these numbers, Chase?
I got 3/4 as our answer.
Okay, because here's 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4.
And then I got 3 because that's our numerator, and our denominator's always a 1.
Okay, so this is our 3 wholes. So you might also see this would be the same thing. So you have 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 pieces. That's why we have 3 times, what are we multiplying by? One of them is 1/4. So it's repeated addition. Instead of adding 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 3 times, we're just going to take that 1/4 and multiply it by 3. So if I clear this and put it in my calculator, I do 3 times 1 numerator, 4 denominator. What I get for my answer, Chase?
3/4.
3/4. Very good. So there, both of those are correct. This just shows Chase actually put it over 1, and this is just using the whole number. This is the same thing. So far, do you have any questions? I'm going to scroll through real quick. If I miss your hand, just go ahead and unmute yourself. Any questions? Are we ready to try another one? Okay, Seth, we're going to skip down to letter D.
We don't have the
Letter
book,
D.
so we need the problem.
I don't have the book.
One.
Oh no, where is your book?
They didn't give it to me.
Oh my goodness, you never came to get one when you were in quarantine.
I can't.
I just left there and I thought that they would give it to me, but I only got the language arts. I didn't get the math.
Okay. When do you come back, Seth?
Thursday.
This week? Okay, then there's no sense of, you won't need it tomorrow. Okay, so can you see my picture? Here's letter D.
Yes.
Okay, so my whole is this whole thing. So I want you to count up these boxes and tell me what each of these pieces should be labeled.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So there's 6 total. So what does 1 equal?
1, 6.
Very good. So I'm going to label each of these 1/6. Now, Seth, I want you to count up for me how much we have shaded.
1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 1, 4, 6,
Mhm.
5, 6.
Very good. So we have 5/6. Now, Seth, can you use unit fractions and addition to show me an equation that uses these numbers and equals 5/6?
Yes.
Go ahead.
1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6.
All right, I'm going to check your work. Is that okay?
Yep.
I'm going to put it in my calculator. I see it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I'm going to put 1 numerator, 6 denominator, and I'm going to add that up 5 times. Check Sethi's work. See how he did. What I get when I put it in the calculator?
Not 6.
What did you tell me the answer was?
5, 6.
All right, give Nanny a high five since I can't high five.
Good.
job. Okay, Miss Isla, can you now tell me how I can use multiplication to show the same model?
Five, 6 equals 1, 6 times 5.
Very good. Okay, so, I don't need 2 equals. So now I have my fraction, which is 1/6, and instead of adding it together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I'm going to multiply by 5 because I know multiplication is repeated addition. So Isla, what am I going to punch in my calculator to check? Do you remember? Can you tell me what buttons to press?
I forget how to do it on the calculator.
So I would do 1, I'll put this 1 numerator, and then what's my denominator?
6.
6, and that D for denominator. Now what do I put? So I have my 1/6
Times 5.
and then enter. And what do I get for my answer?
5, 6.
And what did you tell us?
5, 6.
Okay, so we have the correct labeling, addition model, and multiplication model. Nice job, you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and flip over. Now this one is a little bit more challenging. So let's have Sunny read the directions for number 2, please.
Number 2, it says, write the following fractions greater than 1 as the sum of 2 products.
Okay, so we have to figure out what each of these are worth, and then we have to use addition and 2 multiplication products, 2 multiplication equations. So let's start with Sunny. Tell us what each of these pieces should be labeled.
1/3.
Okay, I'm so glad you didn't say 1/4 because that's a common mistake. Kids see all of these boxes and count them up as 4s. But Sunny, how did you know only to count 3?
Because the bracket was only around 3.
Very
and that was
good.
a whole.
Our one whole is only 3. So each of these are labeled 1/3. So Sunny, looking at this picture, does it equal more or less than a whole?
Equals more than a whole.
Very good. Okay, Reese, how can you show, I want you to show this piece using multiplication.
Okay. So 3 1/3. Wait, you said using multiplication, right?
Yes, ma'am. So you took your 1/3 and what are we going to multiply it by?
3.
Because we have 3 pieces. Very good. So I'm going to put my 3 here and my little 1. Reese, what is 1 times 3?
3.
What's 3 times 1?
3.
So what's my answer?
3/3.
3/3. Okay, this is just, we're doing some work. This isn't going to be our final answer. Ilea, I want you to use multiplication and show me what this curly bracket represents.
So we can do 4/3.
Hold on. Look at my curly bracket. It's right here. So what fraction is in that piece?
1/3.
And then we're going to multiply it by how many pieces are in that curly bracket.
1.
So I'm going to put my little 1 under here so I know. Multiply my numerators. What are my numerators?
2.
No. What are the top numbers in that equation?
1.
So my numerators, 1 times 1.
That equals 1.
Now multiply my denominators.
It would be 3.
Good. 3 times 1 equals 3. So now we have to show this as a sum of these 2 products. So now up here, I'm going to transfer this over. Actually, okay, so we're going to write in parentheses, we're going to put our 1/3 times 3. And then we're going to add to that our 1/3 times 1. All I did was take these 2, we worked them out down here just for practice. Now I'm just going to write one equation combining them. Why do I put parentheses around something, Cooper? What does that mean?
It means you're like adding only those together.
And you're going to do that first. So Cooper, when we already worked these out, so you don't have to rework them out. But down here, when we did 1/3 times 3, what was our answer? What's 1/3 times 3? Cooper? Are you there? I can't find you. Cooper, are you still there?
1 whole.
Okay, and I'm going to put my 3/3 here. because that's what we got, because we want to keep our denominators the same. Then Cooper, over here, I want to write down, what did I get when I multiplied 1/3 times 1? We did it already. Right here.
You would get 3/3.
No, 1/3 times 1. We just did it.
Oh wait,
Right here.
1/3.
All we did was rewrite this equation here and this equation here and combine it with an addition symbol. So now, Cooper, we have to add these. What's 3/3 plus 1/3?
4/3.
Very good. So now, Cooper, I want you to use this picture to help. How many wholes is 4/3? How many wholes do we have here?
1.
And then how much do we have left over?
1.
I think you cut yourself off. What's left over?
1/3.
How do I read this mixed number?
1 and 1/3.
Very good. These are the same value. This is just using an improper fraction, and this is using a mixed number. To be honest, I feel like this is like super high level right
Yeah.
here. It's really hard, and especially because we haven't done a lot of combining different operations in one equation. So I think this is more about, I want you to see it. So if you hear the wording, because this is mixing a lot of stuff up, you have to show a sum, which is addition, and products, which is multiplication. But we're not going to focus too much on it. I just want to make sure that you're able to show that this is 1/3 times 3. This is 1/3 times 1. So we're only going to do one of those. And then we're going to do a couple drawings, and then I'll answer. If you have questions, please stop me. If not, then we'll move on to your exit ticket. All right, Mr. Splash Lagoon himself. Come on, time to wake up. Unmute yourself. You're up. That's you, Noah. You're Mr. Splash Lagoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Elijah can.
Yes.
Earth to Noah. Come in, Noah. Miss Jameson, do you think he fell asleep?
Looks that way.
Does he have water in his ears?
He's staying very still. I think he's sleeping.
All right, Tyler, you're up.
Up there, he
then.
moved. He
Oh.
moved.
Noah,
Noah.
unmute yourself. That's what my eyebrows look like too. Unmute yourself. What are you doing?
Sitting.
Well, what are you watching on TV? You're doing something that's not math. We've been talking to you for the past 3 minutes, get no answer. What are you doing that's not focusing on your math right now?
I don't know.
Well, you're doing something. We almost sent a search party out. What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Where's your math book?
Oh, I left it at school.
Okay, so you are doing nothing. So on tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, when you're here, you're going to have to do this. And you're going to be frustrated and sad and disappointed because you're not going to understand. And the reason is, one, you don't have your materials and you didn't bother to tell anyone. But two, if you forgot your things, there's still a way around that. You can at least be paying attention. But when I have to bullhorn yell for you repeatedly, you're not listening to a word. There's no, it's essentially a waste of time for you to be sitting there with the computer on, wasting electricity because you haven't paid attention to one thing we've done. Right or wrong?
Right.
Okay, so at least if you don't have your materials, you have to at least be looking at the screen and not, I don't know what you're doing. If you're playing video games, watching TV, if you fell asleep, you can't do that because after today, we're moving on to lesson 4 and we're done with lesson 3. Okay? Okay, so if you're going to stay, I hope you've watched the screen. Try your best to be engaged and participate, even if you don't have your book. Seth doesn't have his, but he's still watching and following along. Bella Watkins.
Oh, and the only reason why I couldn't hear you because my computer, I couldn't hear you.
So then
I
you
was
should
trying to
have the
fix.
volume up higher if you can't hear me. That's even worse.
That's not. It was up. I couldn't hear it, but I fixed it.
Okay. Okay, Bella, I want you to help me with letter A. We're going to show 3/5. What do I do to show that picture?
First, draw a rectangle. Then
How many pieces should I divide it in?
5.
What should I label each piece?
1/5.
So everyone should be drawing this right now. Sarah, this whole thing represents what?
1 whole.
So I have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. That equals 1 whole. So I have my 1 up here. These are the same thing, 1 and 5/5. Olivia, how much should I shade of my 5/5?
3/5.
So I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to label this piece 3/5. So I need to do 2 things. Olivia, the first thing I need you to do is I want you to use addition and unit fractions to show me 3/5.
3/5 equals. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Do you remember what a unit fraction is? So look back at your notes from this page. What's a unit fraction?
A 1 numerator
Very
and
good. So when you draw a picture like this, if you draw this accurately, you've already done a lot of the work for yourself. So Olivia, pretty much all you need to do is use this and put some addition symbols in there.
equals 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5.
Very good. So you took this picture and you just put 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. And if I want to check this without a calculator, I see 5s on the bottom, which stays the same. And then I add my numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, and that should check out. Sarah, can you tell me how I now write this using multiplication?
You can do 3/5 equals
Nice and loud.
I'm just gonna.
We got no volume.
Is this better?
Much better, very much better.
So you do 1/5.
So we take our fraction, our one piece, and how many do we have?
3
So what am I going to do?
times 3/5.
Not 3/5. Repeated addition. So instead of adding this together 3 times, I'm going to multiply it by what? Can't hear you.
3 ones.
3 wholes, yeah. Or we'll just say 3 because it's just multiplying by 3. But 3 ones is the same thing. So you are correct with 3 ones. It's just you have 3 of them. This would just be like if you had 3 packs of jelly beans. Instead of saying 1 + 1 + 1, you have 3 of them. So you're going to do 1 times 3 to give you 3. So we'll put that over 1. 3 times 1 equals 3. 1 times 5 equals 5. So 1/5 times 3 equals 3/5. Zoe, I didn't know you came. When did you get here?
Right at 104.
Do you have your workbook?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready to help me with the next one?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to skip down to letter D. The fraction is 8/5. So I'm going to draw my rectangle. And how many pieces do I need to divide it into?
You need to divide it into 8 pieces.
No. Look at my
Five.
denominator, my bottom number.
Oh, 5 pieces.
And what should each of them be labeled?
1/5.
Yep. So Zoe, if I add up 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, this represents what? What is 5/5?
1 whole.
Very good. But Zoe, I need 8/5. So how many more pieces do I need to add on?
3 boxes.
Yep. Very good. Trace, how much of this picture do I need to shade? How do I show 8/5? Trace, I have all of these fifths here. How much do I shade in to show 8/5? How many fifths equal 8/5?
8.
So I'm going to shade 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 6/5, 7/5, 8/5. Very good. Nina, how can I use addition and unit fractions to show 8/5?
We can do 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5.
How many times am I adding it up?
8 times. Well,
Very good.
Yeah, 8 times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Calliana, are you still here? Anywhere? Okay, Tyler, how can I use multiplication to show the same equation?
8/5 equals 7/5.
No. What's the fraction that I have in the box? What does one of these pieces represent?
8.
No. I have it, hopefully you have it
One.
labeled.
1/5.
1/5. So instead of adding 1/5 together over and over again, what can I multiply 1/5 by?
8.
Very good. So 8/5 equals 1/5 times 8. Okay, so in your books, I hope you have all of these drawings because on your exit ticket, you need to show this to me. You need to show me that you can label each amount and write addition and multiplication equations to go with each. Does anyone still need my screen or can I unshare?
You can unshare.
Okay, so do you have any questions for me? So today you have 2 things left on your math to-do list. What do you need to do? We did your homework. Reese?
Extra math and exit ticket.
Which one should you do first?
Exit ticket.
Exit ticket, very good. Tyler, make sure you submit your exit ticket because I haven't gotten any from you for quite some time.
I did my exit ticket before the Zoom.
Well, the only thing about that is you haven't done the practice yet. So does it make sense to take the test before you've done the practice? No, don't thumbs up. Unmute yourself. Does it make sense to do that? That's just kind of like hurrying up to get it done. Like if you're coming to the Zoom to get the practice, you need to wait to do the exit ticket. Anyone have any questions?